Hi book besties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a video that I've been meaning to do for a long time, ever since I got these new bookshelves, but I just haven't got around to doing it, and now I am, and here we are. So I'm going to be doing the bookshelf scavenger hunt chooses what I read. Now I've done this video once before, but I really struggled with it. So this time I have done my own prompts, and I will leave those down in the description in case you would like to use them. But yeah, I would like to do this video more often on my channel. I think. I've not seen how it goes yet, but if it goes well, I would like to do it more often. So if you have any prompt suggestions, then please do let me know. Okay, I think let's just get into the prompts now. Okay, so the starting point for me is find a book that I gave 5 stars this year. So let's have a look. There's not going to be that many options. I think I'm going to go with A Court This Cruel and Lovely. This is one of my more recent 5 stars, and this series as a whole is like a 5-star series for me. You've probably heard me bang on about it loads. Also, I'm not supposed to be really talking about the books in this video, so Maisie, shut up. Okay, so this is our starting point. Okay, so now second prompt is to find a book that I would recommend to somebody who likes this book. So, okay, this is a bit of a weird one because I'm going with Throne of Glass, which obviously is a much bigger and more popular series than the Kingdom of Lies series I just showed. However, when I was reading Kingdom of Lies, I was getting such Throne of Glass vibes, and I always say, if you like Throne of Glass, I think you would like Kingdom of Lies. So I think I'm gonna go for Throne of Glass for this. Yeah, okay. So now the next prompt is to find a book with the same number as pages as this book, or as close as I can get. So let's see, how many pages does this have? This is like a fairly average size book, so I think this should be quite easy. 404 pages, okay. Better than the movies? This looks like it could be a good option. No, okay, too short. What's like a bit longer, theoretically? No, 384. I feel like I can do better than that. Okay, this one is 424, so that's 20 pages off. I'm just gonna have a little look to see if I can do better than that, but this may be what I have to go with. Okay, I think this is as close as I'm gonna get. This book has 403 pages. This is Once Upon a Broken Heart. Okay, I think like 1 page off. Yeah, this is as close as I'm gonna get. I'm quite happy with that. I kind of wanted to move on from the fantasy genre, but alas, we are still with the fantasy books. So Once Upon a Broken Heart is the next book. Okay, the next prompt is find a book that has a higher Goodreads rating than this book. Okay, so this book has a Goodreads rating of 4.06. So that's actually quite easy. There's quite a lot of books with higher ratings than that. I'm gonna go with Binding 13. This has a average rating of 4.43 on Goodreads. Finally, we are out of the fantasy trenches, and the next prompt is to find a book with a similar cover to this book. Obviously, I could choose another book in the Boys of Torment series, but that feels like cheating, so I'm gonna see if I can find a different book, not in that series. What have we got? It's red with like bits of paper and a broken heart. Okay, this prompt is the hardest one. I don't know if I've just chosen a really bad book to do this with, but I feel like none of these options are great, but I'm gonna have to choose one. This is Binding 13, obviously. This is the cover. The only romance that has a similar vibe cover, and I say vibe because they are literally not similar at all in their appearance, is If You Had Been With Me. So this one has like a smashed heart lolly on it. This one obviously has the broken heart. That's the only thing that's similar about them. I don't think that that's good enough. The first one that I saw was Vow of Thieves, and that's just because it's red, and it's also got like, I want to say yellow, but it's really gold, isn't it, on it there. But they are similar in colour. Like if I'm holding those up to the camera, they're kind of similar. And then the other one that I thought of is Ruthless Vows. Again, it's a red cover, and this one has like letters on it. And I said this one has like, I don't know if you can actually see, I've never even noticed it myself, but there's like bits of torn paper. I don't know if it's like off books maybe, as the background to this book. So that's kind of why I thought this one, but then they're very different vibes. Like this has people on the cover. I think I'm gonna go with Vow of Thieves, even though they're really not similar, but they just like, as I'm holding all of these books together, this is the one that's the most similar. But really it's just the same colour. Okay, so we're doing Vow of Thieves. If you're watching this like screaming at me like that there's a really obvious book behind me, I'm sorry. In fact, I didn't even look at these spray edges ones. It's too late now. We're going with this. And the next prompt is to go to the acknowledgements section and find an author with the name of one of the acknowledgements in this book. So let's have a look. Okay, the first one I'm seeing is Rosemary. I don't think I've got any Rosemary's. Pete, Adriana, Alison, Erica, Deborah. I think I've got one for that. 1 second. Okay, so I have A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Satch. I've not read this book yet, but this is the only author name I had that matched the first acknowledgements in that book. Okay, so the next prompt is to find a book published in the same year as this book. This book was either published last year or this year. I think it was last year. Oh no, 2024. This year. Okay, that's all right. That should be easy to find. Okay, let's go with Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This one came out this year. Next prompt is to find a book that I've read more recently than this book. So I read this one last month, so I basically just have to choose any book that I've read this month. I'm gonna go with Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. I read this one literally a few weeks ago. Okay, second last prompt is to find a book that's a different genre to this book, so that's easy. Do I just go with any fantasy or do I go for like a thriller? You know what, I'm actually gonna go for neither of this. I'm gonna go for The Inheritance Games. This is a YA mystery kind of book. So yeah, there we go, The Inheritance Games. And now we have our last prompt. And I can't remember what it is, so 1 second. So our last prompt is to find a book with the same first letter as this book and read it. Now, this is The Inheritance Games, so should I go with T or am I counting the I? I never know what to do when a book's the something. I'm gonna have a look for T, and if I can't find anything, I'll move on to I. That seems fair. Okay, I think these are all of the options that I'm considering. I also have The Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle, which is a fairly new release. But I'm reading a lot of fantasy this month, so I just don't know if I want to do that. Saying that, I do have fantasy options here, so let's just see. So the first one is The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Marin. I really want to read this, but I kind of want to read Serpent and Dove first, so I don't think that's going to be an option. Next I have The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. Now I know I just said I didn't really want to read another fantasy, but this like is so short, like it looks like it will just be so easy to read. What the heck? Sorry, I just opened this book and it's like just got black pages with days of the week on. I probably shouldn't really look at that, but that takes up some pages as well, so this could be a good one. I've not heard like amazing things about this. I've just heard that each of the books has really good endings, but like maybe the whole of the book is not that great. But that could be an option because it feels like it'll be a really quick, easy read. So next I have The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. I've wanted to read this for so long and I just haven't. Again, no, it's a new fantasy series, but another short book, so it feels like it will be really easy to read. I feel like, is this a fairly long series? I can't remember. I think it's like broken up into different parts of a series, so like maybe the first 2 books follow one couple and then books follow other characters, so maybe I could break it up. Yeah, I don't know. It's an option. And then I have 2 romance options. So I have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. This is the second book in her, what's it called? Off-Campus series? No, not Off-Campus, Campus Diaries series. I really liked the first one in this series, so I could read this, and Elle Kennedy books are always so quick to read. I don't know why, like I've just not been drawn towards this one. And then the other option is The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I've had this book for so long on my TBR, so I would really like to read it. I am not sure that I'm gonna like this book. It doesn't sound like it's for me. It doesn't sound like it's the kind of book that I'm gonna like, but at the same time, I feel like it would be fun to read it. Like I really want to read it, but I just don't think I'm gonna love it. But it has been on my TBR for ages and I do want to read it. You know what, I actually think I'm gonna go for The Nanny, because as I said, I do have quite a lot of fantasy on my TBR this month, especially like big fantasy books. If you watched my November TBR, please send me all your positive thoughts because that TBR is going to kill me. So I feel like this just seems like such a nice, short, easy read. So I think this is what I'm going to go for. However, the reason I said it doesn't really sound like it's going to be for me is because of the plot of this book. Feels like it's just going to be a kind of like spicy, light-hearted book. That's just not really my thing. I love like slow burn, angst, but it does sound fun and I think it will be a nice palette cleanser. So I'm pretty sure this is about our female main character who has an OnlyFans account, and she gets a job as a nanny of this like single dad. I presume he's single. I don't think either of them know when she gets a job, but he subscribes to her OnlyFans. That's all I really know about this book, but it sounds fun, doesn't it? Like as I said, it doesn't necessarily sound like my kind of book, but at the same time, I bought this book because I wanted to read it. So I'm gonna go for this. We're gonna go for The Nanny. Right, I guess I will catch up with you when I've started this book. let's hope it goes well. I'm literally one chapter in, and throughout that first chapter I was like giggling like, oh, this is so cute, this is funny, like her conversation with her friend and then her conversation with Aiden, our male main character, and then I got to the end of the first chapter and there's like a message from one of her OnlyFans fans, and yeah, it brought me back down to reality of what's going to be in this book. Also, I was obviously just filming and my mum was sat over there, she's gone now, and after I stopped filming she was like, so what, you're just filming yourself reading? Like, why? Like, that's boring, who wants to watch you read? And then just now I got the camera back out to talk to you, and as she was leaving she was all sarky like, oh, you're just gonna film yourself reading again? Honestly, brutal. She doesn't get it, okay? She does not get the relaxing booktube vibes, and that's her loss. Obviously I'm one chapter in, literally on page 17, so I don't have much of an opinion yet. I'm liking the setup, they've met, she's kind of got the job, but yeah, I feel like it's good vibes so far and definitely a good palette cleanser. I knew even before I picked this up that it's not going to be like a 5-star favourite for me. I shouldn't speak too soon because it could be, but yeah, I feel like it's just going to be a good, easy, fun read, which that's great, that's what we want. Also, just to acknowledge the fact that I am at my parents' house, not at my house. If you've noticed the different setting, we came here yesterday on bonfire night to get away from the fireworks because Albie, who is sitting right next to me at the moment, he is very scared of fireworks. So we've basically come here for the rest of the week and most of the weekend we will be here as well. Right, I'm going to get on with some more reading and then I will be able to give you a better update and more thoughts. I am now just over 100 pages into The Nanny and I thought I would update with some of my thoughts. I'm pretty sure I've already shared the general plot for this book, so I'm not going to do that again. The only thing I am going to say is that I was wrong about one thing. So when it comes to the OnlyFans account, this is something that she used to do and used to have, and she no longer does OnlyFans because we know that something bad happened, I think, when she had her OnlyFans account, and so she doesn't want to reopen it. It's weird because where I've got to now, just over 100 pages in, she has only just realised that he is one of her like past subscribers, and he is somebody that basically she used to be quite close to on her OnlyFans, and she had developed some kind of feelings for him basically. So yeah, we've only really got to that 100 pages in, and it's weird because it's on the blurb, so like as if it's going to be a main plot point, but so far he has no idea that it's her. And yeah, she's literally only just figured out that it's him. So I'm not sure when he's gonna figure it out, to be honest. Like, maybe that's not gonna happen until the end of the book. It's maybe gonna be a bit of like a third act conflict that comes up. I don't know. I am enjoying this. It's quite easy to read. So far, I'd say it all feels quite wholesome. We actually kind of have more of Cassie and the little girl than we have of Cassie and Aiden, our male main character. They don't really have that many interactions so far. It's more about her building a relationship with the daughter who she is obviously the nanny for. My one like main gripe with this is that the girl in this book is 9 years old, and sometimes it feels like Cassie talks to her and treats her like she's like 5 years old, and I don't know, I don't have children myself and I don't know anyone with children around the 9-year-old mark, so maybe I am just remembering wrong what it's like to be a 9-year-old, but I kind of feel like as a 9-year-old you're fairly grown up. Like, obviously you're not grown up, you're nowhere near being an adult, but you're not like a little baby anymore. And I don't know, sometimes it feels like the way that Cassie speaks to her and treats her is like she really babies her. I don't know, I do think it's really hard to get children right in books, especially with their ages. I often do think that the ages are a bit off for certain children characters, but as I said, I really am not an expert, so that could be completely wrong. That's just my feelings. I'm liking it enough so far. I don't think it's amazing, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I think it's okay. I'm having a fairly good time reading it. Don't let people tell you that romance books aren't intellectual, by the way, because I have learned a new fact in this book. Apparently, if you like squeeze your nose really tight, you won't be able to hum. Literally so hard. Try it, but you have to like properly squeeze it really hard so you can't at all breathe out of your nose, and then you can't hum. So that was an interesting fact that I've been like trying out on all of my family, asking them to squeeze their noses and try to hum. So yeah, that's where we are. I don't think I really have anything else to say or any more thoughts on this book. It's kind of like a hard book to have thoughts on. I guess I'm gonna try and do a bit of reading now. Hello. Hello. Oh. I'm like 300 pages in, and I have to say this book is like 80% smut. It's weird though, because the characters are acting like they really like each other. They're like saying that they really like each other and care about each other, but we're just not seeing that. Like, all we're seeing is their physical connection, and I don't therefore understand or believe their emotional connection. So in that sense, I'm not really loving it. That's not really for me. That's not really the kind of romance book that I enjoy. I like a good angsty, slow burn romance, and that's not really what we're getting. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still like enjoying reading it because it's fun and easy to read and it's pretty light-hearted, but at the same time I'm a bit disappointed because I feel like the plot could have been really good. Like, it's a really interesting setup for the plot, but so far it just hasn't actually been that interesting in terms of the plot. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the last 100 pages, but those are my feelings so far. Okay, I have finished The Nanny and here are my final thoughts. I think basically what I've said still stands. I think that this is a fun, easy to read book, and I did enjoy my time reading it, but at the same time, as a book, did I like it? Not really, if I'm judging it as a romance book. I would say there was like 150, maybe 200 pages of plot in this book, and then the other 200, 250 pages was all just smut. And it literally got to a point where, like, I think, yeah, like the middle couple of 100 pages was just like sex scene after sex scene after sex scene. And I was thinking, where is the actual romance though? Because as I said, I didn't really feel an emotional connection between them because all we ever saw was them having sex. But then it was weird because they would talk about the fact that they really liked each other and cared about each other, but it was all so based on a physical connection. Like, they found each other very physically attractive, couldn't keep their hands off each other, and that's fine, but that just, like, it didn't get me. Like, I found myself not really caring that much about the romance. Also, they kind of annoyed me as characters because they were just so wrapped up in wanting to have sex with each other that they just did stupid things, especially when it came to the daughter. That just didn't make sense to me. Like, I just don't think that would happen. So I don't know, like, I enjoyed my time reading it. As I said, like, it was fun, it was an easy read, and I thought that the, like, plot idea was fun, but it just, I don't love the way that it was executed in terms of the general vibe of the book, if that makes sense. So I think I'm gonna settle on 2.5 stars for this, which, I don't know, that feels kind of harsh because, as I said, I enjoyed reading it. I wasn't like hating having to pick it up and read it, but I just didn't care. I don't know, I'm definitely gonna stand by 2.5 stars because I don't think it's quite 3 stars for me. I think it is 2.5 stars. If you like a really smutty book and you're not that bothered about the plot, then I think you would like this. If you care more about the plot and the characters and like emotional connection, then maybe you wouldn't really like this and you would feel the same as me. So yeah, anyway, that is my summary of the book. I enjoyed doing this scavenger book, and it's always a bit scary because like you never know what book you're going to end up with, and like I kind of ended up with a book that had just not really been on my radar to read, but now I'm glad to have it ticked off my TBR, so that's great. So let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you would like to see more of these scavenger hunt type videos. Also, if you do have any prompt ideas, let me know in the comments, because I would love to like change up the prompts every time I do this. I don't want to start to get too familiar with the prompts and then be able to like determine my own outcome, if that makes sense. Like I want to keep it as like, I don't know where we're gonna go with this and what's gonna happen. So yeah, if you do have any ideas, then please let me know. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and leave a comment on this video. That really helps me, and also subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to see you in my next video. Bye!